In this video, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of buying a pre-construction condo.
A real estate expert, Tom Story.
Tom Story with Royal LePage.
Tom, good to have you in this afternoon. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome back to the channel. My name is Tom Story, and I'm the team leader of the Story team, and we sell real estate in Toronto. Pre-construction condos are everywhere. You look anywhere in the city of Toronto, you're going to see cranes in the sky. And before they can even put the shovel in the ground, they have to be 70% sold. So when you see them being built and you wonder, hey, who bought those? Well, somebody already bought them before they even started building. But in today's video, I want to talk about the pros and cons of buying pre-construction condos. I have personally myself bought a pre-construction condo. I've also bought resale condos. And with our clients, we've sold both resale and pre-construction. So here's my realtor unbiased opinion of the great things with pre-construction and the things that I'm not so fond of. But just before we get into that, if you like real estate content, please subscribe to the channel. Click that little bell, like the video so you'll be notified when we put out similar content. Let's start with the pros. Let's start off on a positive side of things. Listen, at the end of the day, you're buying something that is brand new, and that's nice. People like new things. They're willing to pay more money for new things, and it's a nice feeling when you can walk into something and know that you're the first person that's ever lived there, used any of the appliances. You get it brand new. I would say that's a pro. The second advantage of pre-construction is the deposit structure. What I've found from selling real estate in Toronto is that the monthly payments on the mortgage aren't necessarily what's holding people back from getting into the market. It's the deposit structure. And if you're buying a resale property, you're typically putting between 5 and 20% down, but you have to do it all at once. But when you buy a pre-construction property, they have a staggered deposit structure. So it can be anywhere from 1 to 4 years where you're paying 5% at the beginning, 5% within 180 days, and it gets to 20%, but not until final closing. So you have a lot more time to save up for that down payment, and you don't have to worry about the mortgage right away. Pro number 3 with pre-construction condos is that it may be able to get you into a neighborhood that you couldn't have afforded otherwise. So what I mean by this is that sometimes you'll see new developments going into communities where the average home price is over $1 million. And you can get in by buying a pre-construction condo for $500,000, $700,000, whatever it is, but it's a lot less than what it costs to buy a house in that exact same area. So you get to enjoy all the amazing things about that community without having to pay the prices of what it would cost to own a freehold house. We've actually seen this strategy used for a lot of our clients that have gotten into the pre-con market, is that they buy in neighborhoods they really like where condos are slowly starting to pop up that were previously just filled with freehold housing, which was obviously costing way more money. The fourth pro is that you get to choose your upgrades. Like, you get to make this condo exactly what you want it to be. Now, you're going to pay a little bit more, and it's sometimes cash on closing for these upgrades, but you get to go in and decide exactly what package you are looking for. You get to make this condo yours, and that's really exciting. And the last pro is that you are covered under a 7-year carry-on warranty. Now, not everything is covered for that 7 years. It is staggered. You can look online exactly how it works, but you are covered under warranty, and that is nice to know when you are buying something. All right. Now we're going to get negative for a second here. We're going to talk about the cons and the things that you need to be aware of, and what I find a lot of people have no idea about when they're getting into the pre-con market. Number 1, they cost more money, and not just a little bit more money, significantly more money. Right now, on average in the Toronto condo market, pre-construction condos as of right now in 2021 are starting in the downtown core at about $1,300 per square foot. To give you context, a resale condo in the exact same area is probably trading at about $1,000 a square foot. So right off the bat, you are paying 30% more. You're paying future value for a product that you're assuming by the time that it's finished will be worth what you paid when you bought it. Now, if history has showed us anything, it's worked out so far. But the way that it used to work is, let's go back to 2005. In 2005, if there was a resale condo and a pre-construction condo, the resale condo would be more expensive than the pre-construction condo. As we continue to go up here, and it got to about 2008 to 2012, they were fairly even. They would cost about the same. But then by 2015 and 2016, we started seeing that gap happening, where pre-construction condos were now costing more than resale condos. And now in 2021, it's sometimes a 30 to 40% premium. So just so you understand, because I find the general public's perception is sometimes that they're getting a deal or getting a great price on pre-con, that they're going to be cheaper. That is certainly not the case. So this makes sense, right? You are buying something that's new, so it should probably cost more than something that is used. but you're paying a pretty big premium and you have to understand that when you're getting into the market. Just make sure you do your homework. Number 2 is HST Implications. So I could do a whole video just on this, but I'll try and get the point across. So basically, if you are buying this property and you are going to move in there yourself, you're not going to have to worry about this. But if you're buying it as an investment or you're going to rent it out, you might have to pay a certain percentage of the HST on closing, and it can be a good chunk of money, and it could be surprising if you don't know about it. You can apply for an HST rebate if you rent out the unit and show the lease. But again, there's a whole lot of things you have to understand. HST implications can be a large sum of money on closing, and you need to make sure you're ready for that. The number 3 con is that if you're buying a resale condo, your 2 things that you have to expect on closing is land transfer and lawyer fees. If you're buying a pre-construction condo, you're going to deal with development fees as well. Now, most developers at this point will cap the development fees. Let's just say if you're buying a 1-bedroom, you're capped at $6,000, 2-bedroom, you're capped at $10,000, and a 3-bedroom, you're capped at $15,000. Now, this will change depending on the development, and most developers will cap the fees at this point. But these fees on closing, they cannot be put into your mortgage. So on top of land transfer and your lawyer fees, you're going to pay development fees. You're going to know what it's going to be up to a certain amount of money. And on top of that, there could be HST implications, as I spoke about previously. Okay, next up on the con list is interim occupancy. Some people might argue with me on this, that this is actually a pro, that you can get into the building earlier on. But basically, there is a period of time when the units are finished, but typically the amenities aren't finished. Maybe the front lobby is not completely finished. The elevators still have the wood paneling all up in it, where you can get the key and you can move into the property. However, during this period of time, it is not a legal condominium yet. It is not a condominium corporation. So that means you can't have a mortgage on it yet. Now, interim occupancy should only last 4 to 6 months, but I've seen some buildings that are lasting over a year. And during this period of time, you're basically paying a certain percentage back to the developer to be able to have access to your unit before the building officially closes and becomes a condominium corporation. So basically, you're paying rent to the developer, which is not helping you build equity. It's not going into your mortgage for a certain period of time when the building is not technically finished, even though your unit is finished. This is something we see a lot in Ontario. I think in other markets around Canada and North America, it's different, where you only get the key when the building's completely done. But this is the norm if you're buying in the Ontario market, and specifically the Toronto condo market. You're going to see this everywhere. And my last con is just that the developer holds the cards. So at the end of the day, if they want to change your floor plan, if they want to take your ceiling height down 1/2 inch, they don't legally have to get your approval, because they do hold the cards. Now, you can fight back, but in my experience finding it, typically the client doesn't win these battles. And on the other side of things, like projects once in a while get canceled, and there's nothing you can do about it. You'll get your deposit back, but over that period of time, you're not going to get the equity that you could have earned if you put your money into something else. So that wraps up the pros and cons, but I want to give you my personal opinion on this. I think in the right scenario, pre-construction condos can be great investments, but I just want to make sure that anyone that's getting into them fully understands that they are paying more money than the resale condo across the street. And I got to give credit to the pre-construction industry and the marketing that they have behind it. They make their properties look sexy, new, exciting. The videos, the marketing behind it is really, really well done. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're getting a great product. It doesn't necessarily mean you're buying through a good developer. It just means that they have really good marketing. And just to add to this, when you see the VIP pricing stuff, honestly, it's a bit of crap. The way that it works is that friends and family is first. If you don't know about this, this happens before VIP pricing. By the time it gets to VIP broker pricing, or whatever the agents are calling it, it's basically they will allocate a certain amount of units to each brokerage or real estate agent. If you are working with that agent, you will have the opportunity to get one of the units. And just something to keep in mind, if you're working with a realtor that sends you new pre-construction projects all the time and tells you that every single one of them is great, run the other direction. There are some great ones, but there are some really not great ones. So make sure whoever you're working with, they fully understand what is good and what is not good, and make sure you're buying from a good developer. And a little insider secret here, realtors make more money selling pre-construction than we do selling resale condos or resale properties. So you might not have known that, and that is the truth. And I think sometimes that's why realtors push these pre-construction projects, because they are more lucrative. But the reality is, if you're running a relationship business, not just a transaction business, you got to tell people the truth. So there you go. I know not everyone's going to agree with this video, but it's just my personal opinion that right now, at this exact moment in 2021, there is way better value in resale than there is in pre-construction. But saying all that, I bought a pre-construction in 2018 for $800 a square foot in downtown Toronto, and the developer is now trying to sell off the remaining inventory at $1,400 a square foot. So obviously I did really well on that. But if I just look at prices today, the numbers no longer really make sense to me. I could totally be wrong, but that is my own personal opinion. If you stuck around to the end of the video, thank you so much. If you want to follow us, you can check us out on Instagram at The Story Team. We are very active on that platform. If you want to book a meeting with me, a buyer consultation, a seller consultation, or you just want to chat about Toronto real estate, in the description below, my link is there. You can book in a time that works for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. And remember, home is where your story begins.